6 hours after finding those messages, I watched my husband hug my sister in our kitchen. My fingers trembled on my phone as I captured the moment their hands lingered too long on each other's backs. Behind them, the family reunion banner I'd spent 3 hours hanging fluttered mockingly. "Perfect timing, Emma," my mother called out. "Now we can finally eat. You've kept everyone waiting again." I pocketed my phone and forced a smile. The entire house buzzed with relatives I'd flown in on my dime, cousins from Seattle, uncles from Chicago, my elderly grandmother who needed special arrangements. $5,000 and 2 months of planning. Also, my parents could have their perfect family photo for their 35th anniversary. "Sorry," I said, my voice steadier than it had any right to be. I was finishing up some work. Liza, my sister, broke away from James a bit too quickly. "Work? Today of all days." Her laugh was brittle. Classic Emma, always prioritizing her career. The irony burned. I'd taken 3 unpaid days off to organize this reunion. Meanwhile, my sister had contributed exactly nothing beyond showing up 2 hours late, wearing a dress that hugged her stomach a little too protectively. James moved to the refrigerator, deliberately avoiding my eyes. "Who wants beer?" "I bought that IPA everyone likes." I watched his familiar movements, my husband of 8 years, the man who'd promised me a family of our own. The man whose messages to my sister I'd accidentally discovered while using his laptop this morning. Messages about their excitement, their future, their baby. My mother pulled me toward the dining table. "Emma, you look pale. Are you eating properly? You know what the doctor said about your stress levels." "I'm fine, Mom." I pulled away from her grasp, noticing how she immediately turned her attention to Liza, touching her arm with maternal concern. "And how are you feeling today, sweetheart? Still having morning sickness?" My father clapped his hands. "Everyone to the table. Let's get this feast started before it gets cold." Emma worked hard on this spread, the only acknowledgement I'd get for weeks of preparation. I watched as 20 relatives swarmed the table, exclaiming over dishes they assumed I'd catered rather than cooked myself. James appeared at my side, placing a possessive hand on my lower back. "You okay?" he whispered, breath smelling of mint gum, the kind he chewed obsessively when lying. "Never better." I stepped away, my heel accidentally connecting with his foot. Oops. As everyone settled into their seats, I remained standing, reaching for the crystal wine glass James had given me on our last anniversary. Tapping it with a spoon, I waited for the chatter to die down. "Before we eat, I'd like to make a toast." My voice carried across the room. 20 faces turned toward me, expectant. James and Liza exchanged a quick, nervous glance. "To family," I said, raising my glass. "To the people who know us best, who see us at our worst and still choose to love us." My eyes locked with my mother's, or at least pretend to. An uncomfortable silence fell. My father cleared his throat. "Well, let's eat before everything gets cold." I remained standing, reaching for my laptop bag. "Actually, I have a surprise for everyone first. A special anniversary gift for Mom and Dad." James stood abruptly. "Emma, let's eat first. The food will get cold." I pulled out my laptop. "This will only take a minute. Everyone knows I've been working on a family photo album, right? For the anniversary." My mother's face softened. "Oh, Emma, that's so thoughtful." "It is, isn't it?" I opened the laptop, connecting it to the TV with a cable. I've been collecting photos for months. Everyone sent me their favorites. I turned to the assembled family, and I found some interesting ones myself. Liza shifted in her seat. "Emma, maybe we should just wait," I interrupted. "You'll want to see these. They really capture what our family is all about." I plugged a small flash drive into the laptop, the one I'd found hidden in James's desk drawer this morning, right after reading those messages. The one labeled backup. My finger hovered over the enter key as I looked around the table, at my parents, beaming with pride, at my cousins, already half drunk and oblivious, at my sister, whose face had drained of all color, and finally at James, whose eyes silently pleaded with me. I pressed enter, and then the doorbell rang. "Are you going to get that?" my father asked, annoyance creasing his forehead. The doorbell rang again, more insistent this time. I stood frozen, cursor blinking on the screen, the folder of images waiting to be opened. "I'll get it," James said quickly, pushing his chair back with unnecessary force. Relief flooded his face, a temporary reprieve from whatever he thought I was about to show. James opened the door, revealing my colleague Michael, camera bag slung over his shoulder. "Sorry I'm late," he called out cheerfully. Traffic was brutal. I'd completely forgotten I'd invited him. Michael was the best photographer at our studio, the one person I trusted to capture the perfect family photo my parents had requested. "Michael," I said, moving away from the laptop. Perfect timing. James stood rigidly by the door. "Emma didn't mention you were coming." Michael's eyes darted between us, picking up on the tension. "I can come back if this is a bad time." "No," I said firmly. "Now is perfect." We were just about to take the family photo. My mother clapped her hands, instantly distracted from the previous tension. "Oh, wonderful. Should we move to the backyard? The afternoon light will be beautiful." James caught my arm as I passed. "What are you doing?" he hissed. I smiled sweetly. "Taking a family photo. Isn't that the whole point of today?" I turned to the table. "Everyone outside in 5 minutes. Michael needs to catch the golden hour." As the family filed out toward the garden, I unplugged the flash drive and slipped it into my pocket. James watched me, his face a mixture of fear and confusion. "That's not the photo album, is it?" he asked quietly. "No," I replied. "But don't worry. I'll be showing it after the picture." In the backyard, Michael directed the family into position, grandparents seated in the center, parents standing behind them, children and grandchildren arranged by height. A perfect, loving family tableau. "Emma, you stand next to James," my mother instructed. "Liza, you're on his other side." I complied without argument, feeling the stiffness in James's body as I took my place beside him. Liza kept her distance, careful not to meet my eyes. "Everyone say cheese," Michael called. 20 voices responded in unison. I didn't speak, but I smiled, wide, bright, empty. "Perfect." Michael checked his display. "Let me get a few more." As he adjusted settings, my father leaned in. "After this, Emma, let's see that special anniversary gift you mentioned." James's hand found mine, squeezing hard enough to hurt. A silent plea. "Absolutely, Dad," I replied, not returning James's pressure. "I think it'll be really eye-opening for everyone." Back inside, everyone drifted toward the dining room again, the food now thoroughly cold. I headed straight for the TV, retrieving my laptop. "Before we eat," I announced, "I really want to share this anniversary gift." My mother beamed. "We're all excited to see it, honey." James approached, voice low. "Emma, please, can we talk privately first?" I looked into his eyes, the same eyes I'd woken up to for 8 years. "No," I said simply. "We're all family here." No secrets, right? I connected the laptop again and inserted the flash drive. This time, I didn't hesitate. I double-clicked the folder labeled Liza plus J. The first image filled the screen, my sister and husband, arms wrapped around each other on a beach I didn't recognize. The timestamp showed 3 months ago, during James's business trip to San Diego. A collective gasp filled the room. "Oops," I said. "That's not the family album." I clicked to the next image, the two of them kissing in what appeared to be a hotel room. Then another, my sister lying in bed, the sheets pulled up, James's watch visible on the nightstand. "Emma," my mother cried, "turn that off immediately." I ignored her, continuing through the images. Some dated back over a year. Interesting vacation photos, wouldn't you say? I especially like how they coordinate their stories. When James was fishing with clients, Liza was at a yoga retreat. I clicked again. Apparently the yoga retreat had room service. That's enough. My father stood, face crimson. I turned to him. You knew, didn't you? All of you knew. The silence that followed was my answer. Liza finally spoke, tears streaming down her face. Emma, we were going to tell you. After today. We didn't want to ruin what? I cut her off. The family reunion I paid for? The anniversary celebration I planned? Or just my life in general? James stepped forward. Emma, this isn't how we want it, save it. I switched to the text messages I'd screenshotted that morning. I can't wait to start our life together, I read aloud. Emma will understand eventually. She always does. I turned to face my family, the shocked faces of distant relatives contrasted with the guilty expressions of those closest to me. Did you know about the baby too? I asked my mother. Her eyes dropped to the floor. Answer enough. I closed the laptop. Congratulations. You've got your perfect family photo. And a new perfect family member on the way. The silence was deafening as I unplugged my computer and picked up my purse. Emma, my father finally said. Don't be dramatic. Sit down. We can discuss this like adults. I laughed, a hollow sound that surprised even me. Discuss what? How my husband and sister have been sleeping together. How my own mother knew I was being betrayed and said nothing. What exactly would you like to discuss? You're making a scene, my mother hissed. No, I replied calmly. I'm finally seeing the scene clearly. I turned to the extended family members, frozen in shock around the table. I'd apologize for ruining dinner, but honestly, cold food seems appropriate. Enjoy the meal. I won't be staying. James grabbed my arm as I passed. Where are you going? This is our house. I pulled away. Correction. This is your house now. I'll be back for my things tomorrow when you're at work. I patted my pocket where the flash drive sat. I have all I need. As I walked toward the door, my mother called after me. Emma, don't do this. Think about the family. I paused, hand on the doorknob. I have, for years. It's your turn now. The door closed behind me, cutting off their voices. In my car, I sat motionless, hands gripping the steering wheel. Then I pulled out my phone and opened the last photo I'd taken James and Liza embracing, unaware they were being watched. I deleted it. Some pictures didn't need to be kept. 3 days later, I sat in a hotel room, laptop open to apartment listings. The Do Not Disturb sign had been hanging on my door since check-in. 27 missed calls from James. 43 from my mother. 16 from Liza. I'd answered none of them. A knock at the door broke my concentration. Housekeeping called a familiar voice. I opened the door to find Michael, holding a paper bag. You look terrible, he said, stepping inside without invitation. Thanks. I brought sandwiches from that place you like. He placed the bag on the desk. And information. I closed the door. What kind of information? The kind you asked for. He pulled out his phone. Your sister checked into St. Vincent's Hospital yesterday afternoon. Something about spotting and cramping. My stomach twisted despite myself. Is she okay? Seems so. They kept her overnight for observation, but discharged her this morning. He paused. James stayed with her. Of course he did. I nodded, unsure why I'd even asked Michael to keep tabs on them. Some masochistic need to know, I supposed. Thanks, I said, taking the sandwich he offered. How's work? Chaos. Clients keep asking for you. I hadn't bothered calling in. 3 days of personal leave that I'd never taken before seemed fair under the circumstances. I can refer them to Sandra, I said. Michael sat on the edge of the bed. Emma, what's your plan here? Hotel living isn't sustainable. I gestured to my laptop. I'm looking at apartments. And work? Your house? Your life? Good questions. I'd been operating on autopilot since walking out. The practical matters. Dividing assets, legal separation, my career felt overwhelming. I don't know, I admitted. I haven't thought that far ahead. My phone buzzed again. My mother. I silenced it. They're looking for you, Michael said unnecessarily. Let them look. The next day, I returned to the house with Michael to collect my things. My mother and Liza were waiting. I never meant to hurt you, Liza said as I packed boxes of my belongings. I set down a box slowly, turning to face her. You know what's extraordinary? I actually believe you. You never meant to hurt me because you never thought about me at all. Her face crumpled. That's not true. I thought about you constantly. The guilt wasn't enough to stop you. We fell in love, she whispered. It wasn't planned. The words hit like a physical blow. Love. Not just sex, not just betrayal. They believed they were in love. How long? I asked, the question I'd been avoiding. She dropped her gaze. Almost 2 years. 2 years. Half of what I thought was a rough patch in my marriage had actually been its secret ending. The late nights I'd attributed to work stress. The distance I'd tried to bridge with weekend getaways and home-cooked meals. The fertility treatments we'd stopped because James suddenly wasn't ready. All lies. Were you ever going to tell me if I hadn't found out? After Mom and Dad's anniversary, she said softly. We didn't want to ruin their celebration, I finished. Yes, you mentioned that. Always prioritizing their happiness above all else, a family tradition. As we loaded the last of my belongings into our cars, I heard the front door open again. You'll regret this, my mother called from the porch. When you calm down, you'll see that cutting us off only hurts you. I closed my trunk and turned to face her. Maybe, but right now, hurting me seems to be a family specialty. 6 months later, I stood in my Denver apartment, unpacking the last box of photography equipment. Outside, the Rocky Mountains provided a stunning backdrop through floor-to-ceiling windows, a view I never tired of. My phone chimed with a new email notification. Opening it, I found a message from my lawyer. Final divorce papers ready for signature. Appointment confirmed for Thursday. A wave of relief washed over me. After months of negotiations, delays, and James's attempts to drag out the process, it was finally ending. The settlement wasn't perfect, but it was fair, significantly more equitable than the draft I'd discovered on his computer that day. Another notification followed, a text from Michael, who had become my lifeline during the transition. Landing at 7. Dinner at that Italian place you mentioned? I smiled, typing back a quick confirmation. His company's partnership with Westlight Studios meant monthly visits to Denver. Visits that had gradually evolved from friendly check-ins to something more. The doorbell rang, interrupting my contemplation. Probably the building manager with that package I'd been expecting. Instead, I opened the door to find my father standing awkwardly in the hallway, looking smaller somehow than I remembered. Dad, I said, too shocked to say more. Emma. He shifted uncomfortably. May I come in? I hesitated, then stepped aside. 6 months of silence, broken by this unexpected appearance. He entered slowly, taking in the apartment with appreciative eyes. Nice place. The view is something. What are you doing here? I asked, closing the door. He sighed heavily. Your mother doesn't know I'm here. That doesn't answer my question. He moved to the window, looking out at the mountains. The baby was born last week. A boy. They named him James Jr. The news landed like a physical blow, though I'd known it was coming. My replacement family, now complete. Congratulations, I said, my voice flat. Is that why you came? To tell me I'm an aunt. He turned to face me. I came because I owe you an apology. Of all the things I'd expected him to say, that wasn't one of them. We handled everything wrong, he continued when I didn't respond. Your mother, Liza, James, me. Especially me. I crossed my arms. It's a little late for apologies, don't you think? Probably, he admitted. But I'm here anyway. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. I brought you this. I took it cautiously. Inside was a check, a substantial one with my name on it. What's this for? Your inheritance, he said. Early. It's what would have come to you eventually. plus interest. I wanted you to have it now when it might make a difference. I stared at the amount. Enough to buy a house outright in most parts of Denver. Enough to start my own studio if I wanted. I don't understand. It's not a bribe, he clarified. It's not contingent on forgiveness or reconnection. It's yours regardless. An acknowledgement that we failed you. That I failed you. I set the check on the coffee table. I don't need your money, Dad. I'm doing well here. I know. Take it anyway. Do something meaningful with it. He stood slowly. Or tear it up. That's your choice. We stood in silence, the mountain sunset painting the room in amber light. Part of me wanted to throw him out, to preserve the clean break I'd made from my family. Another part ached with the validation I'd waited a lifetime to hear. I should go, he said finally. My flight's early tomorrow. I nodded, walking him to the door. As he reached for the handle, he turned back. I don't expect forgiveness, Emma. But I want you to know I'm proud of you. I always have been, even if I did a poor job showing it. The words unlocked something in my chest, a tight knot loosening ever so slightly. Thank you for coming, I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. After he left, I returned to the window, watching as his small figure emerged from the building below and hailed a taxi. My father, a man I'd both adored and resented my entire life. A man who had finally, far too late, seen me clearly. The check still lay on the coffee table. Blood money? Genuine restitution? I wasn't sure. My phone chimed with another text from Michael. Flight landed early. Headed your way now. Still up for dinner? I smiled, texting back, absolutely. Something unexpected happened. I'll tell you over pasta. 1 year to the day after I discovered my husband and sister's betrayal, I stood in my own photography studio in downtown Denver, directing a small team as we prepared for our biggest opening yet. The lighting's still off on the mountain series. I called to Terry, my assistant. Can you adjust the track lights about 2 inches to the left? The gallery space hummed with focused activity, caterers arranging appetizers, my social media manager snapping behind-the-scenes content, art handlers making final adjustments to framed photographs. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Michael. Landed. Heading to hotel to change, then straight to gallery. Proud of you. I smiled, typing back. Can't wait to see you. VIP entrance is around back. In the year since I'd left my old life behind, Michael and I had carefully built something new, a long-distance relationship that gave us both space to grow individually while supporting each other. He still lived in my hometown, though he was considering a transfer to Denver. We were taking things slowly, deliberately, a welcome change from the rushed decisions of my previous life. As guests began to arrive for the opening, I received an unexpected text message from a number I didn't immediately recognize. It's Liza. Dad gave me your new number. I heard about your gallery opening tonight. Congratulations. I hope someday you might be willing to talk. JJ is walking now. He has your eyes. I stared at the message, a complex wave of emotions washing through me. In the year since I'd left, I'd had limited contact with my family. Occasional calls with my father. Christmas and birthday cards from my mother, which I'd acknowledged but not warmly reciprocated. Nothing from Liza or James. I'd heard through my father that the divorce had been finalized between them as well, James's wandering eye having found yet another target. Liza was raising their son alone, with my parents' help. I slipped the phone back into my pocket without replying. Tonight wasn't about the past. The back door opened, and Michael slipped in, looking handsome in a suit I hadn't seen before. Just in time, I said, meeting him with a quick kiss. Wouldn't miss it. He surveyed the gallery with admiration. This is incredible, Emma. You've created something extraordinary here. Not just the gallery, I replied. A life. He squeezed my hand, understanding what those simple words encompassed, the pain, the rebuilding, the deliberate choices I'd made each day to move forward rather than remain trapped in betrayal and bitterness. I moved toward the entrance, ready to open the doors to the public. As I did, I paused to straighten a small, simple frame near the entrance, different from all the others in the exhibition. Inside was a photograph I'd taken 6 months ago, my father standing on his porch, smiling cautiously at the camera. My first tentative step toward redefining, rather than completely severing, my family connections. On my terms, for my own reasons, because family, real family, was what you made it. I nodded to my gallery manager to unlock the doors. As guests began to stream in, I stood tall, completely present in the moment. This was my last family photo, not the one that had been taken that fateful day a year ago, but these images surrounding me. The frames that had shattered and been reborn as something new, something stronger. I moved forward to greet my guests, leaving the past where it belonged, acknowledged but not defining the woman I had become. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I make the right choice cutting ties with my family, or should I try to forge a relationship with my nephew despite everything that happened? Would you have cashed that check from my father? Have you ever had to rebuild your life after massive betrayal? I'm still working through this journey and would appreciate hearing your experiences and advice.